so hyped to introduce our next speaker, who will be talking about the need for climate change action, not just in this country, but across the world, for people and not for corporations. So please, roar like your life depends on it, because it probably does, for Assad Rehman for War on One!
Thank you, sisters, brothers, friends, comrades. I bring you solidarity greetings from War on One, with a radical anti-poverty and climate justice organisation. But I also bring you solidarity greetings from the climate justice groups globally. For our movements on the front line, the climate emergency isn't something that will happen in the future, it's happening now. Killer floods, droughts, famines in every corner of the world, supercharged climate violence, 1 million of our fellow citizens dying each year, and millions more losing their homes and their livelihoods. 1 million people at this very moment in Mozambique facing starvation from just one storm, battered again by another cyclone. Or on the islands of Dominica and Puerto Rico, which lies in ruins. Or in Pakistan, where I'm from, where we've had heat waves of 53.5 degrees centigrade. For our sisters and brothers in the world, their reality isn't the future generation, it's about now. Their choice is from barely surviving into not surviving at all. It's a life and death fight for them. And those on the front line have one thing to say. They say thank you for standing with them. Thank you for speaking truth to power. Of refusing to let people sacrifice black and poor lives because our lives don't matter to those whose interest is only profit. And friends, that's what climate justice means. It's not just an empty slogan, but it understands that the real extinction has been taking place in our names for a very, very long time. And it also recognised when the real rebels for life have been rebelling, they have been killed. 2 people each and every week, the real defenders of our planet, killed for resisting our corporations and our economic exploitation. But these are not powerless victims. It's just because their skins are brown and black that their voices don't matter to those who make decisions. We have to show that they do matter, that we say their names, and we stand with them. And we show what real solidarity looks like. And the most important thing we can do, it's important we keep telling the truth. Because climate justice is one of the world's greatest inequalities. Those least responsible are the ones who are mostly dying from it. But it also funds all of the existing inequalities, from poverty and inequality, racial and gender oppression. It's a system of a broken economic model of capitalism, a system where 3.5 billion people in the world rely on $5 a day, where nearly 2 billion people don't have access to energy, and 1 billion people go hungry each and every night. Why? So that the rich can keep getting richer and the corporations can keep having a free license to destroy people and our planet. But friends, simply calling for a climate emergency isn't good enough, and neither is passing motions. Those in power have known the truth about climate change, but they calculated that letting people in the global south, people with black and brown skins, die was just the cost of doing business, of making a profit. So we have to hold those people who are responsible to account, and they have names and addresses. They have names and addresses, those who are responsible, and we have to name them. They're our banks and our corporations, and they're our politicians. And they sit there in the City of London, and they sit there in government. So friends, for many of the people in the global south, The reality, it's the same old story. Whether it's been from slavery to colonialism to climate change, it's always been a question about power and profit. So we have to recognise that the wealth of this country, this is what has made us the 5th richest country in the world. It's a country that's been built on the bodies of people in the global south, of exploiting their resources and of poisoning their lands. So we have to demand the UK does its fair share. That it pays for the damage it's causing and it's caused. And when people tell us, oh, don't be so radical, to try and live within this system, we have to remind them that they are not the ones dying from this system. And when they tell us, don't go out on the streets, we have to remind them, change comes from when we're on the street. Change comes from people power. Friends, we're in a really important moment, so we have a real huge responsibility. We have a responsibility to make sure our movement has concrete demands. Because a movement without demands can be broken at any moment. A movement without demands can be co-opted at any moment. So that means we need a vision of a better world, a fairer world and a greener world. But that vision can't sacrifice the people of the global south to protect jobs in this country. It can't swap one form of capitalism for green capitalism. And it can't tackle the climate crisis so citizens in the global north can protect their futures while sacrificing the people of the global south for the crisis of inequality that is taking place now. So when we talk about green deals, we need to talk about a global deal for people. We need to talk about the UK doing its fair share. We need to talk about end fossil fuels and making energy a public good. We need to talk about bringing warm homes and people's energy here, but also ending energy poverty around the world. And we have to talk about smashing the industrial food system that buries 1/3 of the food that's produced in the world. It means ending food banks here, but it also means giving people the right to food globally. And it means standing up for migrant justice. People have the right to survive. That means they have the right to move, but they also have the right not to move from their homes. So we have to talk, yes, about a living wage, a decent wage, but that has to be not just a wage here, it has to be a wage here, everywhere. We have to talk about the right to housing, education and health for all. And it also means standing up to the racists, to the Trumps and our own politicians, and ending the politics of walls and fences and eco-fascism. Our climate campaigning must be international, it's anti-nationalist, it must be anti-racist, it must say Black Lives Matter here and globally, it must connect our struggles. Together we must fight, together we can win. Thank you.